Generally for airlines, the maximum age for a child is 12 years old on the date of return. So a 13th birthday party while you're away could prove expensive. An infant is classed as under the age of 2 on the date of return. They do not usually have their own seats, but if you request a bulkhead seat, then you will be given a sky cot for use after takeoff. If you don't arrange for a sky cot, then the infant will have to be on somebody's lap for the whole journey. On a long haul flight, it might be worth paying extra for a seat, just to make life easier during meals, and check to see if a car seat can be used to keep them securely fastened to the airline seat. An infant may not have any checked baggage allowance either, or any in-flight meals, so you do need to check the small print, and check the latest security information to ensure that you can take the baby food on board, including milk and formula. But when it comes to charter flights, then the age can be different. So a child can be anybody under the age of 16 on the date of return with Thomson Fly and no frills such as Ryanair and EasyJet, but BA and Virgin it is under the age of 12. Now, buggies and pushchairs can be used up to embarkation, but then they have to be placed in the hold. So the label will have to be attached at check-in to make sure you get that done, otherwise it could go for a walk. And these are usually, but not always, in addition to any luggage allowance, so you don't lose anything by having a pushchair. But do check the procedure for collecting them. If you have to get them from the luggage reclaim, you may have a long walk while carrying your child. Any disabilities must be declared at the time of booking, although it is believed that for some people that don't declare it, and then they get worried about the being refused boarding if they book ahead. So anyway, the honesty is the best policy. And facilities at airports and on board are unfortunately still limited, even in this day and age. So as much notice as possible is really required. The hard part is finding out which company is responsible for looking after you. In the UK, the airport assists you from the check-in desk, and then the airline takes over once you're on board. In America, the airline's responsible all the way out to the exit of the airport. So it's not the airport in America, but it is here. It does take a lot of planning. And when you inform the airline, you usually do this by ringing a special number. You always take a name for the person you're talking to for reference in case of problems. If a promised assistance is not there for you, your airline will just refuse to believe that you booked it, unless you have some kind of reference that you can back yourself up. I've had this when I've done this when I was a travel agent. Book assistance at the other end, and it doesn't happen, and then I say, we never booked it. And I go, yes, I did. Here we go. So it's very important that you keep track of everything. Powered buggies, wheelchairs may be allowed in the hold, but there are special requirements, such as the battery must be disconnected before they can be loaded, and there may be other rules as well, so you need to ring the special assistants to find out what they are. Wheelchairs are also placed in the hold, with passengers using the airport or airline ones after check-in. There may be extra charges for equipment that needs to be carried on board, such as oxygen cylinders, and others provide it free. So again, ring around, don't just pick the price, make sure that the airline can actually look after you for free. And unfortunately, some airlines are particularly unhelpful when you're asking for special requirements. So instead of carrying out general searches, just use a specialist tour operator instead and get them to find the flights for you. Or contact forums to find out how others have fared when flying with a particular airline. If you've had problems with your airline when you needed to book something for specific requirements and it went really badly, please do share your story at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. You can keep up to date with travel news and leave me a message at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. So I'm talking about booking flights online this week, and we've covered some of the basics, but there's still some more important points for you to understand and to realise. You need to know the difference between direct and non-stop. Direct flights touch down on the way, and you do not leave the aircraft, and obviously this increases your journey time. So Heathrow to Grand Cayman is a direct flight, but you touch down in the Bahamas and wait for an hour and a half, so it adds an hour and a half to your journey. You need to make sure you're happy with the flight times and connections. Have you heard of the company that's listed on the price comparison website? Research any company before you give them your money. Going back to Hirecar, a few Christmases ago, price comparison site kept coming up with this particular company that was offering unbelievable deals. Unfortunately, the deals didn't exist. They were taking the credit card, they were using the credit card to pay for more advertising, to pay for wages, but there was no cars. It was just a scam, so if you're not sure the name of the company, check it out first before you hand over your details. Do you know what the rules are for the ticket? I'll be talking about rules later. Do check out the seat pitch and legroom. It may be worth paying a little bit more and flying with somebody else for the extra comfort given by more space on board. Do select your seat as soon as possible. Don't leave it to when you're at check-in, so if you can book your seat online, do that. But if you're after an exit seat, then you need to get to check-in as early as possible because you have to be physically able to take part in an evacuation of the aircraft if there's a problem to be able to sit by the exit seats. They need to check you out first. And I don't mean give you a physical, but they just give you the once over and see if you look like you can actually lift people up. If you're flying abroad, check the entry requirements. Do you need a visa? Do you need 2 spare pages on your passport? How long does your passport have to be valid for after the date of return? But do be careful when you check in because sometimes people at the check-in desk get it wrong. The USA, your passport has to be valid until the day after you've left. Other countries, it has to be 6 months, and an awful lot of check-in staff, who are all contractors mostly, they're not part of the airline, they have the 6-month thing in their head, and if you haven't got 6 months left, they won't let you on, and it can be very difficult to persuade them that actually, your passport is fine. So always carry a copy of the Foreign and Commonwealth Office website's entry requirements for the country you're going to, just in case you need to have a row when you check in. And have you booked a package price? There are some fares which are cheaper. They're called IT or ITX, if you buy them with a hotel or a hire car. And this is a fare, this is limited availability, which can only be booked in conjunction, as I say, with something else. And due to these strict rules, these IT or ITX fares are only available under certain criteria. And it's very difficult to find these online, but a travel agent can get hold of these really easily, so always give the travel agent a go at quoting for your holiday you research. Don't ask the travel agent to do all the work. But when you've done all your research, give a travel agent a call, see if they can get it cheaper because they might be able to get an IT fare. So now for the fun part, fare rules. When you're booking with websites, you put in the date and the number of passengers and the route, and the best flights on offer come up. But it doesn't give you all the facts. Every ticket has a fare rule or rules that goes with it. And unfortunately, most of the time, these rules are ignored by the DIY customer. You should read them before confirming the order, as the restrictions imposed may put you at a disadvantage. They should be available to read, and the link might be terms and conditions, could be fare rules. Just look for a link before the ticket is confirmed. If they're not, book elsewhere because you will be held to them whether you read them or not. The biggest lie in the online is, yes, I read and understood the terms and conditions. And you should also always print out the rules for your own records too, because when that ticket's gone, that class of ticket's gone, the fare rules will be different, and it'll be very difficult to find the rules for the ticket you got, unless, of course, the airline keeps it on your customer account. But anyway, the safe bit is to just print it out. By understanding the fare rules, you have a much better idea whether or not you're getting the best ticket for your trip. And some of the rules to check out for include, is the ticket refundable? The cheapest fares are generally not refundable. And if it's not, can the ticket be used as part payment for a future flight? Can you change any of it, and what are the fees for that? Can 2 singles be combined to make a return trip or an open jaw? For which open jaw you fly A to B and then you fly from C back to A. One-way fares may be cheaper, but booking terms may not allow them to be combined on certain dates. An example of this is Virgin had a single from London to New York, £250, and San Francisco to London was about £300, so that's £550 if you book them together. But if you used to book a return ticket, open jaw ticket through Virgin for that, it was nearly £1,500. And the reason why is that the fare rules said that you have to use these flights on a Saturday. And they weren't for a Saturday, they were for a business person going Monday, come back Friday, so the price ramped up. And under the terms and conditions, if you book a cheap ticket with one airline and a cheap return ticket with another airline, in theory, they can actually check your return ticket to make sure that it passes the rules they've put on the ticket they bought with you. And if it isn't, they're not satisfied, they can, under the terms and conditions, which sounds really bad, charge you extra to bring the ticket up to the fare rules that you should have used for the flight you've just taken. See, this is why it's very important to actually read the terms and conditions. So things to look out for are blackout dates. Cheap rates are not always available in peak seasons, and the blackout dates are dates where the ticket can't be used. The booking code, which is the fare class for this ticket, and fare class restricts the number of seats available for the price. Cancel, can a ticket be cancelled? Change, and this lists the changes that are permitted and their fees. A contract, I don't really understand. It's the number for the ticket, so it's handy to have. The fare type routes, they're the routes where the ticket can be used. For example, Heathrow to Newark and Heathrow to JFK. When's the fare valid? The dates when the passenger can travel on the ticket. The maximum stay, where the ticket can be, how long you can be over there before the ticket becomes void. So if you book a single, you need to come back before a certain date. Minimum stay, which could say that you need to return on a Friday or need to return on a Sunday. Open jaw, can the ticket be used for A to B and then B back to A? The passenger type, which is the breakdown of fares, child 75%, infant 10%, an infant 75%, a child 10%, and an adult 100%. Restrictions, flights that can and cannot be used with this ticket. How far in advance the ticket can be booked, 7, 14, 21 days. A stopover, can it be used for a stopover? Very handy if you're flying over to Australia and you stop down in Hong Kong. Can you actually use the ticket to spend a few days in Hong Kong and then keep going? And validity, the special fare that must be purchased within a certain rate of dates. So there's a dates where these special fares can be purchased. It's all very complicated, but if you look at this fares, terms and conditions, fare rules, you can then Google the whatever's listed and check that you're happy with it. But always do this. Checking it out before you check in on the John Guinn Travel Show on ukhealthradio.com. Scheduled airlines do not sell every seat on the flight for the same price. Each class, first, business, economy, whatever, is divided into fare classes. And this division is not fixed and depends on the route popularity, holidays, time of flights and many other factors. This means that if the airline did its sums right, the later you book, the more expensive the ticket price. Fare classes also determine if you are able to receive check-in staff discretionary upgrade to premium economy or even to first or business class. And no amount of charm and the wearing of expensive suits will get you an upgrade if you have the wrong fare class ticket. This also explains why group booking may be more expensive than pricing for one and then multiplying by the name of the group. There may be not enough seats left in the cheapest class for all your group, so you move up to the next fare class. You keep moving until there's enough tickets in that class for your group, so you could go up 4 or 5 classes before actually there's enough seats left. So when booking for prices, you're really looking for the lowest fare class available for your flight. And this is why you should be flexible with your flight dates, as a day earlier or later could get you that heavily discounted fare class. So some examples of fare classes, because I'm not going to go through all 20 odd. Fare class A is first class discounted. K is economy discounted. M is the economy discounted. P, first class premium. S is economy or premium economy. U is shuttle service, no reservation needed, seat guaranteed. And there's many others, all giving you different rules. A full fare, unrestricted economy ticket is booked as a Y fare. Full fares with restrictions on travel dates, refunds or advance reservations are commonly classed as B, H or M. Although some airlines may use S or W, and to confuse things even more, other airlines use other letters. T or W, which are heavily discounted fares, will not permit cabin upgrades, refunds or reservation changes and may require internet booking. They may be also exempt from frequent flyer schemes or may impose other restrictions. I used air miles, well not air miles, but miles with Virgin to fly upgrade to premium economy, but I didn't get premium economy points to my frequent flyer card because of the restrictions in place by the fact I used the frequent flyer points to get the upgrade in the first place. So that sort of thing's covered too. So even though you had an upgrade, you're not automatically going to get the extra miles you would have got for flying in that class of seat. Other fare codes are restricted for use for consolidators or people who sell